Am I the asshole for leaving during an intervention I never agreed to? This happened on Friday. I'm so beyond upset right now and have gone NC for the immediate future with my mom. My 36M sister Jane, 34F, have no relationship. She's my sister by blood only. I'll try to be as unbiased as possible here, but she did some pretty crappy things when our father died. Things like withholding information about his estate, attempting to sell his home and split the profits with his fiancée against my knowledge, not actually being physically there when he died in hospice, etc. Afterwards, she would continuously gaslight me to the point that I went NC with her back in 2018. My life has been so much better without her in it. My mom Brenda, 60F, is not a fan of this. She was divorced from my father and, even though I loved him so much, I have to admit that he wasn't the greatest parent in some aspects. We lived with him. My sister and I not having a great relationship is, mostly in part, his fault. Brenda doesn't like that her two only children have a dead relationship and is constantly trying to fix it. After being in therapy, I've started learning how to erect and enforce boundaries. I don't like it when my mom attempts to fix our relationship and I call her out on it, gently, each time. For example, a few weeks ago, she mentioned how she wasn't going to name neither me nor Jane as the executor until we fix our shit. I calmly told her I didn't think that was appropriate to say or do and that I didn't like how she isn't taking into account my feelings and why I chose to go NC with Jane. My wife and I flew in to go visit Brenda this past Friday. My wife and I recently had a son a year ago, so we wanted to visit his grandma. We walked in and were met with half the family standing there, including Jane who was sitting, claiming that they were doing an intervention on my relationship with Jane. I was speechless. I looked at my wife who was just as flabbergasted as I was. I said I'm not doing an intervention and this is enormously inappropriate. My mom went into this tirade of how I'm a grown adult and this behavior is childish. I need to make up with my sister so we can put all of this behind us. We immediately left. My mom followed us out while asking why I couldn't do the adult thing and just talk to my sister. Baby was crying. We got into the car and booked a hotel. I booked a new flight for tomorrow and I'm trying my best not to look upset for the baby. My wife says she had nothing to do with this and would never sanction it if she knew. My wife's phone and mine have been blowing up non-stop with the family accusing me of being a drama queen and hurting my mom's feelings. The only family member I didn't go NC with is my stepdad, who sent me a simple apology text. With all these text messages, I'm starting to doubt myself. My next therapy session isn't until next Friday and I'm not sure how to feel. Am I the asshole for going NC with my mom? Not the asshole. You walked into an ambush, not an intervention. Your mother is a special type of dawdle bug if she thought a grown-ass adult was going to sit through a forced reconciliation with a shifty character just because you share DNA. Not the asshole. If you're a grown adult, you get to determine who you do and do not have a relationship with. Your mom was banking on you not being willing to cause a scene. Not the asshole. You expected grandma time for your child and are met by the family inquisition expecting to fix your relationship with your sister via this intervention. And she's sitting there expecting it to work so she can keep gaslighting you. If your sister were really wanting to reconnect, she would do it one-to-one and start with an apology for the shenanigans about the estate. Not the asshole. Now it's time to go no contact with your mother. It's clear who she prioritizes and isn't willing to respect you as a person, only as an accessory to her family theater. Not the asshole. That's a ridiculous ambush. I wouldn't talk to any of them again unless it's absolutely necessary. Am I the asshole for not letting my autistic brother's tantrums affect my life? I, 15F, have a brother, 16M, who is autistic. He is a year older, but he was held back so we're in the same grade. Ever since I was little, I felt like I don't really matter and the only reason my parents had me was for my brother to have a friend. To be clear, I'm not neglected or abused, but my parents expect me to build my entire life around my brother. When I was younger, they would always force me to do whatever my brother wants because we had to do everything together. When I wanted to learn piano and he wanted to do karate, we both had to do karate. When my friends invited me to playdates, I could only go if he could too. When I was really little, my parents would basically just force the other parents to take him, but as I got older, I just stopped going anywhere because I didn't want to take my brother with me. To make things worse, we moved when we were in 6th grade and it was almost impossible for me to make new friends because my brother was with me all the time. Middle school was also horrible because 7th grade was online and my brother was constantly clinging to me in 8th. Once we got to high school I just stopped caring about what my parents said and did whatever I wanted. My rebellion mostly consisted of joining leadership and a bunch of clubs. I made lots of friends and started hanging out with them. My parents very clearly expressed their disapproval, but they weren't going to lock me up to stop me from doing things without my brother. I love my brother, but being forced to share my whole life with him as a kid has made me deeply resent him. He has no friends, so he just sits in his room pretty much all the time. Whenever I go out with my friends or go to extracurricular events he throws huge tantrums. I feel bad for him, but I'm sick of being his constant unwilling companion and there is nothing I can do to help him. My parents always take his side and try to make me feel bad for living my life. Our latest conflict was about homecoming. I'm a princess and I'm really excited because I couldn't go last year because I was sick. My brother asked a girl to go with him but she rejected him, so he's really upset and wants me to not go because he's not going. Today there was a picnic to kick off homecoming week and he didn't go, but when I got back he threw a huge tantrum when I left and was still crying when I got back hours later because he doesn't want me to go to homecoming. My parents asked if I could just not go, but I told them that I don't really care if my brother doesn't like it and he can't control my whole life. They said his mental health is suffering because he has no friends and doesn't have the best grades, and watching me have fun and do great at school isn't helping. I told them that his mental health is not my problem and I'm going to homecoming whether they like it or not. My brother is still crying in his room and didn't come out to eat dinner. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. Your parents aren't doing you or your brother any favors by thinking the solution is for you to stay home. Your brother has to learn that the world won't revolve around him. One day your parents won't be here and he needs to be given the tools to live either independently or in a group home. Based on what little you've said, it doesn't sound like he's so severe that he's totally unable to function. I'm surprised your parents aren't doing more to foster his independence. He needs help with his mental health, but that's up to them to get it for him and help him. You are not his parent. Since I was born, you made me brother's only friend. You didn't let him make his own friends. You didn't let me make my own friends. That only changed when I entered high school. I feel badly that bro is upset, but asking me to give up Hoko and being a princess because you haven't helped him mature and learn how to be a friend and make friends is terrible. It's just one more example of your telling me to take a backseat in my own life. Not the asshole. In a few years' time when you go no contact with them, I hope they finally realize what they have done to you. Grow, be free and happy, live your life. Not the asshole. You can't confine your life to fit your brother's or parents' needs. Your brother is your parents' responsibility. Every person I know forced to raise their siblings ended up fucked up. Your parents are doing a disservice to him by not giving him the services he needs to integrate better with his peers. Am I the asshole for planning on getting married before my twin sister? I've seen a few posts related to similar wedding situations but none with twins, so wanted to ask. My fiancé recently surprised me with a proposal on a trip in Iceland, September 2023. I said yes and we excitedly started discussing wedding visions. It's important to mention my twin messaged me a seemingly random date for August 2024 while I was on vacation. When I questioned it, she simply said, "My wedding." This exchange of messages took place before my fiancé proposed to me. After our trip, we attended a dinner at my parents' house with family, my twin, and her fiancé in attendance. She got engaged Sept 2022. Over dinner everyone was curious on when we were planning on getting married, so we honestly answered, maybe July 2024. I will also say before our response together, I jokingly said, August 1, 2024, and everyone laughed including her fiancé. I did explain it was a joke afterwards just to make sure everyone knew I wasn't serious. My fiancé actually picked the time of year himself. When he explained all his reasonings, I agreed we could look for dates in July. Later that week I had a call with my twin and she brought up the joke date asking if I was serious. I explained no, it was a joke. She asked if we were serious about July, to which I told her yes. She told me my fiancé and I were being disrespectful and she expected an apology from him for choosing that time of year because we knew she already had a set date in August. I explained we did not pick that time of year with any intentions of hurting her feelings or being malicious or evil. She did not care. The phone call ended after she explained she could not put into words correctly how she felt and she would contact me later. She never reached out, so I waited until the next day to call and talk to her. I asked if she'd had time to figure out the right words so I could understand how she felt. She told me she didn't need to explain anything because she'd already told me she felt disrespected. The call then devolved to her basically screaming and yelling at me. She requested that I not talk to her about wedding-related things until I have a set date and venue with a deposit put down. The basic message I got from her is she does not want me to get married before her, even if it's only by a month. Other than that, it is very hard to get her to clearly communicate exactly how she feels or what she means by what she has said. There are other conversations that took place between the dinner and the last phone call with her, but I feel I have included the most important information. One of my fiancé's reasons for that time of year are specific to a family member's health. I did not tell my sister this as I did not feel it was my place. Since then, my fiancé has had a discussion with her fiancé and disclosed that information. Edit. The family member has terminal cancer. Edit. My entire family knew my fiancé was going to propose on the trip. Well, to be fair, she gave you a date for her wedding and you come back to announce that your wedding will be 1 month before hers. It feels very much intentional, even if you say it is not. And #X200B. I am not calling you an asshole, but I see where she is coming from. From the outside it really looks like you have rushed to be the first one married as soon as she had a date. You are the asshole. You knew she was getting married in August. You are the asshole. I am a sister and I do not need your sister to explain to me why she is upset. Why do you? She is not saying you can't get married before her. She is saying that picking a date a month before hers makes you in a hole, and she is right. Ask yourself this question. If September were the month your partner preferred, would you be happy following her wedding? Though honestly, even that would still be jerk move. Why do you feel the need to overshadow your sister's good thing? You are the asshole. You knew it would be bad enough to say the 1st of August as a joke, so don't act ignorant. I'm sorry, but you are the asshole. My brother got engaged 5 months before me. I set a 6-month minimum from the day of his wedding. People deserve their own time in the sun.